Good evening. This is the World News at 6 on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. My name is Ijeoma Egwuatu, and these are the top stories. Betta Edu threatens lawsuit against the BBC, demands $50 million. Labour Party alleges NRC president plotting with the APC to destabilize its leadership. More confusion in PDP chairmanship race as Nasarawa stakeholders demand full position, and the passengers missing as bus plunges into Lagos Lagoon. And the foreign scene, Hamas leader's 3 sons are killed in Gaza strike. Details now. Thank you for staying with us. The World News at 6 begins with the suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Edu, issuing a legal threat against the British Broadcasting Corporation, BBC, for what is claimed to be defamatory reporting. In a letter from her lawyer, Chikao Solo Ojukwu, a senior advocate of Nigeria, and addressed to the BBC's offices in Abuja and London, Betta Edu disputes the reports that 30 billion naira was recovered from her by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The lawyer stated that the report has harmed Edu's reputation and has caused her distress. The letter demands $50 million in compensation from the BBC. The article also mentions Edu's previous suspension in January due to allegations of diverting public funds into a personal account. The letter criticized the BBC's article for suggesting guilt without evidence and for not allowing her to respond before publication, calling it a breach of journalistic standard. It asserted that Betta Edu has not been indicted or found responsible for financial misconduct and that no such funds have been recovered from her accounts or links to her as proceeds of crime. The letter also emphasized her innocence and the lack of evidence against her. Meanwhile, the national leadership of the Labour Party has accused the national president of the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC), Joe Ajaero, of colluding with the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC) to destabilize the party. The party's claims to have evidence of these alleged pact asserting that Ajaero's motive is to advance his political aspirations for 2027. In a statement issued by the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Obiora Ifo, the party dismissed the caretaker committee established by the Labour Congress to take control of the party, arguing that the NLC lacks the constitutional authority to do so. The statement also noted that the political commission of the NLC is a front for Joe Ajaero, which he has empowered for the purpose of his political ambition come 2027. It also said the group is unknown to the party and as such lacks powers to convene a meeting of stakeholders to deliberate, let alone take any decision which will have a binding effect on a legally constituted party leadership. Stakeholders of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Nasarawa State have kick-started their advocacy for the national chairmanship position of the party to be moved to the state. In a statement released by Mustafa Ibrahim Umaisha and shared with reporters, the stakeholders said that Nasarawa's representation at the national level is long overdue. They highlighted the absence of the state leadership in the upper echelons of the PDP as untenable, saying it is time for Nasarawa State to take a prominent role in the leadership of the PDP in the interest of inclusivity. The group lamented the situation preceding the 2023 election when Nasarawa's sole advisory position within the party held by elder statesman Senator Walid Jibrin as Board of Trustees chairman was relinquished amidst internal discord. They argued that Nasarawa's selflessness in that instance deserves recognition from the party members nationwide. They also argued that Nasarawa State presents highly qualified and distinguished individuals as potential candidates for the national chairmanship position, particularly Dr. David Emmanuel Ombugado, the party's last gubernatorial candidate in the 2023 governorship polls. In the meantime, the Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunjiojo has refuted reports claiming that he was appointed as the political leader of the All Progressives Congress (APC) in Ondo State by President Bola Tinubu. In a statement signed by his special advisor on media and publicity, Alaoba Batunde, the Interior Minister dismissed the report as baseless and fictitious. The minister emphasized that no such appointment had been made and distanced himself entirely from the purported resignation, asserting that it held no truth. He explained that there has been no meeting held with all the local government APC chairmen and leaders in Abuja as alleged. While acknowledging the impending APC governorship primary election, he advised aspirants to embrace the spirit of love and sportsmanship. In a tragic development, rescuers are currently combing the murky waters of the Lagos Lagoon looking for the bodies of 2 passengers of a bus who were flung into the lagoon from the top of 3rd Mainland Bridge today. The victims were among passengers on board an 18-seater bus involved in an accident on the recently repaired bridge. The accident occurred around the Adeniji-Adele end of the bridge in Ward Lagos Island. VOP News gathered that the driver of the bus was on high speed when it eventually swerved off the road and crashed into the bridge railings. Territorial coordinator of the National Emergency Management Agency in the Southwest region, Ibrahim Fariloye, confirmed the incident, noting that the Marine Police are still searching for the victims, an adult male and a female. Well, now joining me to discuss issues on the world news at 6 this evening, I have with me development economist, acclaimed author, as well as political, national and social affairs analyst. He's Mr. Peter Anosike. Welcome to the world news at 6, Mr. Anosike.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. Let's begin with the case of Betta Edu. We spoke about this yesterday, where the EFCC revealed that about 50 accounts linked to the humanitarian ministry was discovered, and that they also recovered 30 billion from her, right? But now so many news outlets have been reporting that, according to what the EFCC disclosed, and the media took it up, but then her counsel right now is suing the BBC, petitioning their offices in Nigeria, that's in Abuja, and in London, saying that the 30 billion naira recovered by the EFCC was not recovered from her. She's saying the BBC has harmed her reputation and caused her distress. Now, part of what the letter stated was that her legal team is concerned that the BBC was saying that 30 billion naira was recovered from her, and that 50 bank accounts were linked to the recovered funds are also associated with her, which is not true. It complained that the headline, the content, the tone of the article is implying guilt on the part of Edu, and that is not the case. But here's the question. The EFCC came out and let us know this, right? So many Nigerian media has been reporting this. If the EFCC did not make this claim, if they did not disclose this, if they didn't make this revelation, we would not know about this. Should she not be facing the EFCC instead of a media house that merely reported what they heard from the Financial Crimes Commission?
Well, for now, talking about reputation, Betta Edu has none as we speak, because she is a suspect. She had not been exonerated, and she also made a confessional statement because she agreed that she paid some amount of money into a private account
of the NSIPA director,
which is contrary to the constitution. You don't pay government money into an account. So talking of reputation, she has none. She has none, and choosing a BBC to sue. I experienced that thing when I was in the Sun newspaper. I reported a case, and one other newspaper reported that same case. The person chose to fight Sun because he felt that Sun had the capacity to. He wrote that we should give him 5 million naira or he will go to court. He chose Sun because he felt that Sun is rich enough that to pay. So maybe it was the social media and others that reported. So she felt that BBC is a viable organization that can pay. But the truth is that that report came from EFCC. It wasn't an investigative report. They quoted EFCC, and so she has no case. She has no atom of case, and even she she is even fortunate to be talking from her house. She's supposed to be in detention. If Nigeria is an ideal country, she should be in detention until these investigations are either that she goes that to court will set him free, or she will go to prison.
Now, we said the reason why she's not in detention is because, just like she said,
she's
nothing has been proven, because she's demanding $50 million from the BBC, saying they've caused her distress, they've defamed her,
she has
they've brought disrepute to her.
She has no reputation as we speak.
Let's even, put that aside. That is a matter of contention. But then when you say
a suspect has no reputation.
But even if the suspect is later proven innocent,
especially somebody that made a confessional statement. She made a confessional statement.
She didn't agree to this particular thing, saying, 30 billion naira was recovered.
She accepted paying money, government money, into a private account, and it's a criminal offense. So
which is the genesis of the situation.
Sure. So she has no reputation.
Okay, where I'm actually going with this line of questioning is the fact that you said she should be in detention instead of speaking from her house.
She's supposed to be in detention.
She's alleging that nothing has been proven against her, but in the course of investigation, we know she may not be able to leave the country and all of that. Why do you think she's privileged to be speaking from home and not from detention? Because
she is in the good book of the presidency. She is Oluremi Tinubu's friend, number one. She was the national woman leader of APC. Understand me? And they delivered the Cross River her state to APC.
You think that is more of the reason, not just because she is innocent until proven guilty?
No. She is in the good book of the presidency. That is all. If she's from the other side, she would have been speaking from Kuje prison. And that's where she's supposed to be as we speak.
She should be speaking from Kuje prison. All right. On the issue of this, the lawsuit, you're saying you think she picked on the BBC because these are people that in Pigeon Palace have our money.
Sure. So
$50 million, isn't that a stretch? Like I said, they really just reported what the EFCC, what the EFCC revealed. Should she not be facing the EFCC? Or because they are the ones probing her, investigating her, she can't do that?
She has no case against BBC because BBC got their document from EFCC.
As did the Nigerian media.
As the other media organizations. But she felt that it is BBC that has the capacity to pay her. Understand me? I said I had that experience in the Sunday newspaper. I reported the same story. Another newspaper reported that same, but the person chose to attack Sun that we should pay 5 million naira or he will go to court. He gave us 2 weeks.
So what was the unraveling of the case? What later happened?
Well, I had my source, and it's a credible source. We say we are not paying, go to court, let us meet in the court, and he didn't go.
Okay. Now, while we are on the Betta Edu case, right, there's been what we could call more or less a breaking issue on Emefiele, where 5 firms have been linked to the embattled exCBN governor. So, of course, VP News understands that Emefiele was linked to the 5 firms and the 26-count charge of alleged fraud and corruption filed against him by the EFCC. 4 of the 5 firms are located in Lagos, and there is a 5th as well. The EFCC arraigned Emefiele on Monday before the Special Offences Court in Ikeja. He's pleaded not guilty to all the charges. So, what do you think about? I know that there are different charges. There's a different charge for Emefiele. There's a different charge for Betta Edu. We also have Sadiya Umar Farouk in the humanitarian ministry as well. What do you think about the should we call it the 2 different hands that have been used to carry the cases? On one hand, Emefiele and Betta Edu on the other hand, we still have cases of financial misappropriation, conferring unfair advantage, and just criminal charges. One
is in the good book, one is in the bad book of the presidency. So EFCC has never been objective in their investigation and carrying out of their duties.
They have never been objective.
I want to capital what never been objective since its inspection, since it came up.
Why do you say never? You don't think there's ever a case that they've pursued that they they did rightly?
They dance to the tune of the presidency. If the presidency say don't go, they will not go. So it is only those who are that's in the bad book of the presidency that they go after. So this Betta Edu case was already messed up. That's why they are doing this. It became a public
when you say
information.
was already messed up, you're saying it's because the reason why she's going through this now is because it became public information.
It became public.
If it
so
wasn't, it would have been swept under the carpet.
They will have covered. That's what of it? Ojo.
The Minister of Interior.
Sure.
So, and you believe that's the reason why, even from now, Betta Edu is speaking from the comfort of her home?
Because she is on the good book of the presidency.
I wanted to ask, what does it mean to be in the good book of the presidency? But from what, for me to infer from what you've said so far, it's been more or less part of the ruling party or rubbing shoulders with the ruling party.
You are privileged. You can be in APC, but you are not among the privileged ones.
Then what makes Emefiele underprivileged in this case? Because if you recall, there was just in the run-up to the 2023 elections, I personally recall seeing branded cars with Emefiele for president and all of that. This is the CBN governor that was declaring for a political party.
Which is wrong.
And he worked with Buhari.
Which is very, very wrong. But the question is this. Emefiele is geographically disadvantaged. He is an Igbo man. The people that the southwest and the north are always using as scapegoats. Then, who is this way it all started? Who is Emefiele to declare for presidency when Boname Tinubu is declaring for presidency? Do you understand that? That is his number one offense. Who is he to declare for presidency? Why Boname Tinubu has shown interest in this office?
So he was supposed to take a step back.
That's from where he began to err. So they are more political than criminal in what is going on.
You feel it's the same thing going on with Betta Edu?
Betta Edu is privileged. Betta Edu is Onuremi Tinubu's friend. And he's a member of the kitchen cabinet of the presidency. And that is why this position of Minister of Humanitarian Affairs was given that to her. You know, in Cross River State, she was in charge, the chairman of COVID-19.
The COVID-19 fund, the palliatives.
Sure.
All right. I just have one question on this. Do you think this ministry, the humanitarian ministry, should be scrapped? Because if you have 50 whole bank accounts linked to that ministry, that feels like it's just for siphoning of funds to various different ventures that are not humanitarian affairs. I spoke to an analyst yesterday who felt that it's called the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, but it's embroiled in humanitarian doings. Should this ministry be scrapped? And let's just know that, because it's more or less supposed to be a charity organization for Nigerians, and if it's not doing what it ought to be doing, should it be scrapped? If Betta Edu is having issues, her predecessor Sadiya Umar Farouk is also having issues of financial misappropriation. The NSIPA coordinator is also having issues of financial misappropriation. They are being, accused of all of this. Should that ministry be scrapped?
The ministry is a conduit pipe to threaten Nigerian Commonwealth riches. The ministry is a scam, and because the ministry cannot function because there's no data in this country.
So it should be scrapped.
It should be scrapped.
I want to move on in this conversation to the issue with the Labour Party. The national leadership of the Labour Party is accusing national president of the NLC, that's Joe Ajaero, saying he's colluding with the ruling party, the APC, to destabilize the Labour Party. They are saying they have evidence of this alleged pact. They are saying his motive is to more or less advance his political aspirations for 2027. Now, the National Publicity Secretary of the Labour Party, that's Obiora Ifo, says the caretaker committee established by the NLC was dismissed. At the NLC, in fact, the Labour Party, any group that is trying to set up a different committee from what the Labour Party knows, it's unknown to them, saying they can't convene a meeting of stakeholders. What is really going on with the Labour Party at this point? At the time when they are meant to cement their position as one of Nigeria's main opposition parties alongside the PDP, which although has its own internal issues, ruled the party for 16 years while the APC was the opposition. Now it's their time to be on the other side of the divide. Atiku is the one who's speaking. The PDP is not united at this time, but I'm talking about the Labour Party at this particular point. It seems like there's a disunity. The NLC is saying this party belongs to us and you can't just do anything on your own. What do you think about this allegation where the Labour Party is saying, look, the NLC president is plotting with the ruling party to destabilize the leadership of the Labour Party? Abure versus Ajero. That's what it is at this point.
For me, I read a report that Adams Oshiomhole is behind the crisis in Labour Party.
How many people are they actually blaming?
I read a report, and I also know that Adams Oshiomhole has anything NLC in his pocket. Adams Oshiomhole has anything NLC in his pocket,
even though he's no longer president of the
there. And he set a bar that others want to also attain by becoming a governor. So after Oshiomhole became a governor, many other people in NLC and TUC have been aspiring to also become governor like Adams Oshiomhole. Peter Esende, the former TUC president, contested the primaries under APC in Edo and failed. Isa Aramu, former secretary of NLC, contested the primary in Kwara State. And Joe Ajero has also been a governorship aspirant in Imo State for some years. So maybe he is still nursing this ambition of becoming a governor. So I feel that what is happening in the party is a war of interest. But to me, Joe Ajero is my very good friend, but he is overstepping his boundary. He is overstepping his boundary. Based on the issue he's having with Julius Abure. The minimum wage issue has not been settled up till now. He's leaving it and doing another thing. So he is becoming like a Rambo on the news. He should face his NLC job. Nigerians are going through hardship. This electricity tariff is what shutting down the country until the presidency reverses it, but they are not facing it. So for me, he has lost focus.
So there are more pressing issues than the issue of who owns the Labour Party.
Sure. So he has overstepped. He's no more focusing on the problems of the nation. Labour Party is a workers' party, and the workers are going to bed without food. The workers are hungry, no electricity, no fuel, no anything. This is what should consume Ajero's time, not LP.
Okay, from the Labour Party to the PDP, internal wranglings here and there. There's internal discord in the PDP as well. Stakeholders in Nasarawa State have not come out and say, look, we want to kickstart our advocacy. We want to also vie for the position of national chairman of the party, move it to the state. Can we say this internal discord, this issue, is the reason why the PDP is too distracted to be holding its position strong as the main opposition in the country right now?
For me, that caption is wrong. That caption, confusion in PDP, it is very, very wrong. And I'm sure it must have come from the opposition, that a state wants to produce the national chairman of a party doesn't in any way mean mean confusion.
But isn't there confusion in the party with all the issues going on with the suspended national chairman, with Umar Damagum, with Ikenga Oguchinyo coming up and rallying 60 lawmakers to say, we don't know this man, we don't want this man? Is there no confusion in the PDP?
I'm talking about the Nasarawa, which is the bone of contention here, that the Nasarawa state feel that it's their turn to produce the national chairman of PDP is their right.
Which shouldn't be termed as confusion.
It is ambition and never confusion. But we know that Nasarawa is a core APC state. Nasarawa is a core. APC has always won Nasarawa state.
But this is about PDP chairmanship.
I know, that is what I'm saying now. Because for you to come and advocate, we need this. You should show what you've done for the party. You can say we have 18 State House of Assembly members. We have 12 people in the House of Representatives and 2 or 3 senators. But Nasarawa State cannot boast of anything for the PDP. So for me, but they have the right to aspire. Is their right. It doesn't in any way mean confusion. But I know that as now, PDP is struggling to find its feet. And that's what politics
is all about. On one hand, the national chairmanship tussle. On the other hand, they are saying, look, for saboteurs of the party, people who sabotaged us during the 2023 elections, we want to punish them. So we have, Wike and his people doing their thing on the other hand, and then the chairmanship tussle on one hand as well. Can we say all of these are distractions and distracting the PDP from performing, as the main opposition in the country? In a minute, because we need to go. They
are distracting PDP, and I feel that they need a strong national chairman that will expel Wike, the G5 governors. Understand? They should be expelled from the party. Ayofa Yoshi and others, all those that betrayed them in 2023 have no reason to remain in the party at this point in time. You don't condone evil, you eliminate evil.
Okay, then. At this point, I have to say thank you so much for joining me on the World News at 6 this evening, Mr. Peter Anuske. It's always a pleasure having you on here for the analysis segment of the news. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, you're still listening to the World News at 6 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. On the foreign scene, Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh says 3 of his sons have been killed in an Israeli airstrike in Gaza. Haniyeh, who lives in Qatar, said that several of his grandchildren were also killed in the attack. This follows reports in a Hamas-affiliated news agency in Gaza that Hazem Amir and Mohammed Ismail Haniyeh died in a strike in Beach refugee camp. There has been no immediate comment from the Israeli military. Haniyeh, who is based in Qatar, says that that will not affect the militant groups demanding ongoing ceasefire negotiations. The news comes as Palestinians in Gaza are marking Eid al-Fitr, the end of Ramadan, amid the continuing conflict. And that's it on the World News at 6. Just before we wrap up, let's take a look at the top stories again. You heard that Betta Edu has threatened the lawsuit against the BBC, demanding $50 million. Labour Party alleges an LC president plotting with the APC to destabilize its leadership. Nasarawa stakeholders demand for position in PDP chairmanship race, and 2 passengers missing as bus plunges into Lagos Lagoon. On the foreign scene, Hamas leaders' 3 sons are killed in Gaza strike. And that is a wrap on the World News at 6. My name is Ijeoma Innocent. Please follow our social media handles at VOP903 FM. Good evening and thank you for listening.